Yo, welcome back for another video. This is Chris from Shutter Shifts, and today I have this photo of my daughter who is graduating from 8th grade going into high school. And I just wanted to show you guys a little before and after on the photo. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm gonna show you guys pretty much how the what I did to it, and two other photos that I edited. And I also have, I have quite a few photos that I took. I think it was like 250 or 280 or something like that. But got a little busy earlier, so I was only able to edit three of them. And then I still gotta go through the rest of them anyway. But yeah, so let's get to it. So obviously this is the original right here, and um, this is actually the last photo I took. Um, I for some reason I just started editing from the end from the last photo that I took, and I'm working my way back to the first one. And Loki, I think it's because I really like how these photos came out, and so I was more excited about editing these than the ones in the beginning. So yeah, this is the after. So what I did do with this, I went with the camera standard profile instead of the Adobe Color. I think it's it's Adobe Color, the original one that it normally selects. And then I did a 3x2 crop. I I straightened out the photo. The original one wasn't straight, but I mean, I just took it out of, it was just like, hey, let me take one more photo, and that's what came from this one. Um, so yeah, so the photo was pretty crooked, but luckily we were able to straighten it out. And then on the light, brought the exposure up a little bit because obviously the photo was a little dark. Brought up the exposure, a little bit of contrast, lowered the highlight a little bit. I did use a Godox. It's like I forgot the name of the flash, but it's a Godox. It's like a vintage style flash. It's a pretty cool. It's a small flash. It's not like those big like those big flashes that stick up that are very big. I I know I said big a couple times, but yeah. So this one's kind of small, and it's like maybe I want to say maybe like about 3 inches by maybe 4 inches, and it's honestly it reminds me. It kind of reminds me of the top portion of the Star Destroyers, or no, is it the Star Destroyers, the ships from Star Wars? They have that. I guess it would be like the command deck on top. It kind of reminds me of something like that. And so yeah, so I used that flash. I had the Canon R6 Mark II, and I believe it was a 35 millimeter lens that I used for this. Yeah, 35 mil. Shutter speed 1/250 because of flash. 30.2 on the aperture, 125 on the ISO. And then, so let's go back over here. On the S curve, on the lighter part of the photo, I brought this down right here. The blacks, I brought this up. Kind of gives it that matte look, that flat look, I guess you could say. And then, just kind of, slight S curve, nothing crazy. And then, let's see, on the colors. On the colors, oh, whoa, what's going on? Alright. I brought the temperature up a little bit. And, because, yeah, the original temperature was about right here. And, very, very blue. My daughter was like, oh, just leave it like that. I like how it looks blue. Um, I'll make her one that's blue like that. Excuse me. Since she likes the blue, I'm gonna make her another copy with the blue on it. And then the tint, I brought the tint down a little bit, just because originally she was looking a little red from her face, um, and that kind of helped with the red a little bit. Vibrance, brought the vibrance up a little bit. The saturation, or sorry, the colors. I brought the saturation on the red down a little bit. Brought up the luminance. Uh, Orange, same thing, luminance up, slightly up on the saturation. And the yellows, brought it down a little bit, luminance a little up. And that's what you could see. Without the adjustments on the colors, that's what it would be. And same thing with this. And actually I didn't show the light. And so let's move on to the color grading. On the shadows, I did a slight blue on the shadows. That's why it has a slight blue tint to it. On the midtones and highlights, I went more warmer colors. Since it would have mainly affect her. And this is the before and after on the color grading. Kind of gives her a little bit of color, so that's what I did with that. Let's see on the effects. Brought down the texture just slightly. Same with the clarity. I mean, it's not really a big difference, but just minor changes, I guess. Actually, you could barely tell, but. And then, you know what? On the grain, I had put grain on here. I don't know what happened with the grain. Let's see. Do you want to add a slight amount of grain? Nothing too crazy, just to give it a little almost like a vintage film texture to it. Sharpness, brought up the sharpness a little bit. Same thing with the masking. What are we, 83? Actually, let me zoom it out. Yeah, so, I mean, that's pretty much what, gets sharpened with the sharpness, the sharpening tool. And then, on the removal tool, I did remove, I believe right here, it was a tree. That's what it was. So I removed the tree, removed the sign right here, and you could kind of see the building in the back, but it's not a big deal. And then I also removed a couple little things that were in the bottom. Nothing crazy. And alright, let's see. Let's go on to the masking. So on the masking, I did, so this is the first one I did. Brought the shadows down, a little bit of exposure to darken this out. Down here, I brought up the exposure a little bit of the highlight, just to add a little more color and light down here. And so these are these masks, including what was this one? Oh, it's okay. So these I got from over here where you select the presets. There is a premium section where I think this is the one that I used, and it kind of just polishes the photo, right? Like just makes it look a little different. Let me see if there's one. Oh, this one, you can see how it just changes the photos it asks, and so it'll add the masking, and then you can go back and readjust it if you don't like how it looks. But yeah, the one I used just kind of cleared her face a little bit,